here with Robert Macomber. You may know him as an internationally renowned author and lecturer. He's even more than that, and I'd like to have you get the opportunity to get to know him a little better, as I have over the years. Robert, thank you so much for joining me.
Always a delight to be here.
Well, as we've gotten to know you, you came to Shell Point talking about your books, your honor series, Peter Wake, fascinating. And as time unfolded, we noticed that you were very astute with seamanship and that naval history was one of your expertise, and you created courses for us, which we loved in the Academy of Lifelong Learning. Eventually, I said, please do a writer's workshop for us. And we saw how you managed to create a novel a year.
Yes.
While you're doing research and while you're promoting the novel that just came out.
Yes.
So time management is definitely one of your skills.
It takes me 4 years to do a book. So if you're going to have one coming out every year, that means you have to work on 4 to 5 book projects at any one time. So yeah.
And then there's the eyeball recon that you do, where you actually go to these places.
Yeah, you have to describe them vividly in the books, yeah.
And then Peter Wake, his expertise in espionage and your expertise in explaining that leads me to wonder a little bit more about Robert Macomber and the experiences with espionage that you may have definitely in research about it, and how that has made you into the Robert that you are. Then the Robert who's a seaman growing up in Southwest Florida, fascinating. And I've always been so impressed by the fact that you're such a gentleman. And that's really,
well,
really something to be proud of.
Thank you. Growing up here in Robert E. Lee County, you were expected to be a gentleman. And my father was a gentleman, and my son is a gentleman, and my grandson is a gentleman. So that was just the way I grew up.
So tell us, Robert, how did this develop? How did it unfold? You started as a teacher?
Many, many years ago, longer than I care to admit. I was a teacher. I taught history. My degree is in political science and history. And my specialty area was the Caribbean and Florida. And I was teaching up in Tampa. I was teaching high school in history and that kind of things, geography. And that was for about a year and a half or so, 41, 42 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then later on, you know, life, I think we all have our plans in life, and then we have what really happens.
Right.
And so life made several turns. I wasn't teaching anymore, but I loved teaching. I still do. That's one of the reasons I love coming here, is I get to teach. Mm-hmm. And I began doing some lectures on the side. And I love it when I can see people's minds illuminate with the subject matter that I'm talking about, and they have that aha moment. So that's how we ended up being the way we are. So that's what happened. Because many people know history, particularly the people that live here. Mm-hmm. They know history. I'm amazed at the expertise of our residents here and how many of them help to make history. So I love coming here and interacting with them, because I always learn when I come here. Mm-hmm. But I also love teaching some of the things about history that they may vaguely known a little bit about it. And when I tell them the details and the personalities, it's even more interesting.
Well, I've just noticed that the great historians, and I certainly count you as one who comes here and teaches history, build upon the facts that we learned when we were studying history. Yeah. And how wonderful, as we get older, that we can put all of that into a perspective, which you do beautifully with all of your research and interest.
Thank you. You know, it's a bit of a detective story. It's a bit of a detective effort in that you're trying to find the dots, and then connect the dots, and then connect the dots of that event and those people to how we are today. Spanish-American War, Our relationship with Cuba started long before the Spanish-American War, but many of our relations now were formed by the Spanish-American War. So I find it very interesting to find out that information. Sometimes it takes a while. I have a team of really interesting people that have some skills in arcane subject matter, and they help me. I'm very blessed to have friends like that and acquaintances that volunteer. And then I love actually doing the hands-on work where I go to those places that I write about in Africa and Europe and South America and the Caribbean and South Pacific and in Asia, where I actually immerse myself in the cultures, because it's not enough to know the facts of history. You have to know the flavor of history too. So the flavor of those cultures, the five senses, I think is important, because they influence decisions in history also.
And that's what comes out in your novels. You know,
I hope so.
Your ability with seamanship, the way that you do experience through the senses these places and find the words to share.
I want my readers to smell the smoke, to hear the music, to taste the food. I want them to get scared. I want them to get happy. I want them to fall in love. I want them to go through some grief. I want them to live the life that is being lived in that book. I want them to feel that. And when they finish that book, I want them to feel that they have accomplished something and that they understand something better. I do some things that aren't normal for novelists in my books, and my readers have come to really appreciate it. I do a research bibliography in the back of my books.
Right.
The one that's about to come out this coming year in 2018, that one, there are 81 different books that I've used to study and research, books, charts, maps, things like that, because I want my readers to start with my book and then delve further into it, and at least have the ability to, and to know what to ask the local library for. And I do endnotes, because many of my readers want to know the epilogue of some of these factors that are in this story, that are in this event. And quite a few of my readers actually go around the world. This is very cool. I love this. And they will go to the places that are in the books. And I'll get these emails, and I'll get photos. If you get my newsletter, you'll see photos of my readers all over the world, and they're wearing one of my, one of the Waking hats or whatever, and they've got one of my books, and they'll get these emails and they'll say, I'm on the Mekong River in Cambodia. It's just like it was in the book. So I love that.
Well, so to wrap it all up, and I hate to stop, but the author, the lecturer, the seaman, and the gentleman. Tell me what you enjoy the most about your life right now.
The people I get to meet. I'm blessed. I'm a person of faith. I say thank you twice a day. At sunrise and sunset, I do a bike ride. I try to do 20 miles a day. So while I'm on my bike, I say thank you for all I have and all who I have in my life, because I'm very blessed at this age to have no negative people in my life. It is fabulous, and I'm very happy and thankful for that.
And to share so much.
I get to go around the world, and I get to meet really nice people who want to learn.
It's fabulous, and that's why we have you here, Robert Macomber.
My
Thank
great
you so
pleasure.
much. Robert
Thank you.
Macomber.